Hello, hello. Welcome back to Life After Plus One. I'm Leanne, your podcast host and your single parent mentor and coach. And welcome everybody around the world, wherever you're listening. If you've just jumped on board the Life After Plus One bandwagon, then hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And for those of you who are new, this is your place for anything and everything single parenting. And it covers anything from dating, co-parenting, your emotions. And today's topic is triggers. I am talking about triggers. So this is your place where I will unpack anything that is related to your life as a single parent. So if you are wanting to hear a specific topic that I haven't spoken about already, then feel free to send it in a DM. I am more than happy to hear any thoughts, any advice, any suggestions, because I have taken some feedback on board. I have people send me a DM and asking for specific topics, and I have nutted it out on the show. So if that's where you're at, you want to hear something that I haven't touched on yet, then send it through in a DM, and I am happy to unpack it right here for you. So as I just said, today's episode is on triggers. So let me jump into that. And I want to really unpack this because the reason for this is there is a lot of misunderstanding around these words that are related to the self-development industry. And triggers is one of them. So I want to unpack it today. Let's really look at what it is, what they mean, and how you can use it to your advantage. So let's unpack that today and let's really work through it. And I will jump on very quickly before I dive into the episode and just let you all know, for anyone that is new here, what I do offer here at Life After Plus One is obviously this amazing podcast, which all of you keep coming back for. And also I have coaching services. My coaching is here to empower you. It is a transformation journey. It is a journey to empower you. It is a journey to get you unstuck from where you're at. And yes, my niche, I should say, is single parents. But I'm a coach here to help you better your life. So if there's anything in your life that you feel stuck on, then that's where I come in to help you. And I've chosen to focus on single parenting as my niche because that's what I'm passionate about. I've been there. I know this journey. I know how to get through it, and I know what works and I know what doesn't work. And that's why I am so passionate about it, because I want all of you to see that there is a better way through this. You don't have to struggle, no matter how toxic your breakup is, no matter how toxic your co-parenting relationship is. I can promise you now there is a way through this. I have been at that rock bottom. I have been through the most toxic breakup you can ever imagine. So I'm not dismissing anyone's feelings or dismissing what anyone has been through, because everyone is here on their own journey. But I can guarantee you there is a way to get through this. And that way starts with you. It's not about changing your ex. It's not about expecting them to respond to you differently. It's about changing how you handle it. And that's where I come in to help you look at what's not working and let's make it work for you. So you're not stuck on this hamster wheel drama session with your ex where it's constant back and forth, where you're not stuck walking on eggshells because of your ex. You're not stuck in this miserable life where you're feeling anxious and uneasy every time you have to be in contact with them or every time you see their name pop up on your phone. You can't live like that. It's not healthy for you, and your kids don't want to see you showing up like that. Your kids want to see mum and dad happy. They want to see you live a happy life, not constantly stressed and panicked and worried about how the other parent is going to react or what they're going to say or what they're going to do. So this is where I come into play to help you get through these steps, because if you haven't worked through them, this is where you take it back into the dating world. You take these patterns back into your next relationship. And that's why so many people keep going through this same toxic dating cycle, because they haven't got rid of that past hurt. They haven't got rid of those wounds. So they're just jumping back into the dating world with the same emotional baggage, with these same issues, repeating the same problems, because nothing's changed in yourself. You haven't changed the way you're handling the situation. You haven't changed anything about what you're doing besides the person that you're dating. You're not going to get a different outcome until you start doing something differently. So that's a bit about me and what I do as a coach and what I'm here to help all you amazing single parents to work through. So on that note, let's jump into today's episode and talk about triggers.
Welcome to the Life After Plus One podcast, where we turn life's lemons into delightful lemonade. Get ready for inspiring stories, uplifting conversations, and all the tips and tricks to rock your single parent journey with style. I'm your host, Leanne, and it's time to embrace the adventure of Life After Plus One. So, let's dive in.
Now, as I touched on in the intro, the reason why I did want to talk about this is because there is a lot of misunderstanding around the word triggers. Now, I know everyone knows what a trigger is. A trigger is when, say, for example, your ex, your co-parent, says something that really pisses you off and it's just got you triggered. But the thing is, and why I wanted to really talk about this is because most people just think when they get triggered, it's their ex just being an arsehole. Or it's someone at work just pissing them off, or it's someone just driving by on the street that just been an arsehole. Triggers are not about what the person is doing to you. It's about why is it affecting you. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. I've pretty much summed up the show in the first couple of minutes. So there you go, we're done. Show's over. No, I'm joking. But that's really what a lot of people do overlook. A trigger isn't what somebody is doing to you. A trigger is how it is making you react and why is it affecting you? Why is it bothering you? Why are you reacting that way? And it's very easy when you do get triggered to take it out on the person that is saying something to you or that is doing something to you. You're an arsehole. How dare you say that? And it goes with a lot of words in this industry, in the self-development industry. There's all these words that are thrown out there because of the whole online dating thing, and people just want to slap a label on it. Why they're doing that? You're a narcissist, you're avoidant, you're this, you're that. Okay, let's just stop with the labels and let's just really look inwards. Because it's great to know why somebody's doing that. It's great to know why they're behaving that way, but that doesn't change the behavior. That doesn't change the way you handle a situation. And it's important to really understand, if you're going to throw these words out there, to actually know what they mean. And why I'm saying that is because I just saw a post just recently on social media. And I'm going to use this as an example for all these buzzwords that are out there that are wrongly used. And someone put a post up. It was a mum saying her daughters were accusing her of being a narcissist. And she was she came across in the post as being quite sad about it. I'm really, I don't know what to do. How can I improve myself? How can I be a better mum? What can I do? I just feel bad. What can I do to change myself and change what I'm doing? And I just read that post. I'm like, first of all, you are not a narcissist. Because if you were, I guarantee you now, you would be blaming your daughters, not yourself. Number two, if you're a narcissist, you would not be taking accountability. Number three, if you're a narcissist, you would not be on social media asking for advice or support. Number four, if you are a narcissist, you wouldn't be sitting here looking to improve yourself because you wouldn't see anything wrong in yourself. Narcissists don't see themselves as doing anything wrong. Nothing about what she was saying was displaying traits of narcissism. And this is what I'm getting at. So many people hear these words and just see a little thing that they don't like and they boom, let's just slap a label on it. And they don't actually know the meaning of it, the true meaning of it. What is it about? And that applies to triggers and it applies to everything. Boundaries is another big one. So many people misunderstand the meaning of boundaries and how to use it. People think that setting boundaries is saying to your ex, no, I'm not having that, or no, you can't do that. Setting boundaries isn't about telling your ex what they can and can't do. It's about telling your ex what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. That's the difference. Boundaries is about you, not about them. And this whole process in what I do as a coach and with everything in this world, when it comes to healing and improving yourself and moving on and letting go, it's all about focusing on you. Everything I do the focus is purely on you. What can we do to better you? And that also applies with things like setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is about what you want. When someone triggers you, which is what we're here for today, it's not about what they did. It's about you. Everything we do here when it comes to bettering yourself is about you. So when you get triggered by somebody, this is your cue to step back and go, okay, why is this upsetting me so much? Triggers are not about the other person being an arsehole. Triggers are not about the other person trying to piss you off, which good chance they are, which is why you're triggered. But the idea of a trigger when you are reacted by someone who has said something to you, the idea of it is to step back and go, okay, what's happening here? And this is a pattern I see so often in today's society. It's the blame game. It's their fault. They've done this to me. It's their fault. They've put me in this situation. It's their fault. They keep saying this to me. Once again, I'm going to say this one more time. The focus needs to be on you, not what your co-parent is doing, not what they're saying, not what they're calling you. It is on you. So if you're getting pissed off and you're getting triggered by something that they're doing, you can't change that. If they're going to be an arsehole, they're going to be an arsehole. You can sit there until you're blue in the face and say, stop calling me that. Stop doing that. Stop sending those messages. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. They are not just going to magically listen to you because you're telling them to stop or you're telling them that you don't like it. If you are getting triggered by them, then take that as a little thank you and step back and look at that. And the reason why a lot of people don't like to do that is because a lot of people don't like to look inwards. However, all of you that are listening to this are listening to this because you want to look inwards. You're listening to this because you want to move on. You want to move forward. You want to be a better person for yourself, for your kids, and for your next relationship that you're in. So when it comes to moving on and letting go, looking inwards is a massive part of everything. Because like I said, it's all about you. What can you do differently within yourself? And for many, that makes them very uncomfortable. A lot of people don't like to sit with those feelings. A lot of people don't like to feel that. A lot of people don't like to get bored. I even had that conversation with my daughter just recently, saying that, talking about her not using her device and her just sitting there and just thinking, processing what comes up, thinking about what comes up. I said to her, that's how you grow. That's how you become a better person. Think about what comes up. Sit with your thoughts. Be with your thoughts. And this is the idea of actually healing and moving and letting go. And when you get triggered, that is what you do. You sit with it. Why is this upsetting me so much? Because when you get triggered, what they're doing, even though, yes, they are pissing you off, even though, yes, it's really upsetting you and quite possibly hurting you, what it's actually doing, it's putting a mirror up to you, showing you what you need to work on. It is showing you what you need to heal within yourself so you can move forward. That is what a trigger is doing. And this is what I was getting at the start of the show when I was talking about so many people misunderstand these words that you see in this industry, all these hype words, boundaries, triggers, narcissist, avoidant, all these other words that come up all the time. They're probably the most common ones. But they're not used as a way to make yourself feel better, put a title on it. You've triggered me. It's your fault. I don't need to focus on it. It's actually the opposite. When you figure out what it is that's happening, if you've figured out they're triggered you, then you need to look at what it is. Because nothing at all about this process of healing, about this process of letting go, about this process of moving on, nothing at all about this is blaming anybody else. Nothing. And this is one thing I really emphasize in my coaching with everybody that I speak to. I'm not here to throw your ex under the bus, and I will not do that. No matter how much of an arsehole they've been, I'm not here to talk about them. I'm here to talk about you and your situation. The focus here is on you and how we can handle this better for you so you can be happier in yourself. And that is with everything. It's not about, well, they're doing this, they're doing that, they've pissed me off, they're saying this, they keep messaging me. Okay, they're triggering you. I see that. Now let's step back and look at why that's triggering you. Let's look back and look at how that's making you feel. Let's step back and look at what is happening and why is that bothering you so much. And you might think, well, Leanne, it's bothering me because they're being a fucking arsehole. It's bothering me because they keep pissing me off and they keep saying these horrible words. Okay, so why is that bothering you? Why do you care what your ex keeps saying to you? Why do you care what your ex keeps doing? take it deeper. Keep challenging those thoughts. And that's where I come in as a coach. That is my job, to keep challenging your thoughts, because I see these things pop up quite a lot in my sessions. And it's when people ask for advice from other people. Like, for example, you go to your friend that's been married for 20 plus years and ask them their advice on your breakup or your divorce or what to do. I'm going to say this in the kindest way possible. Do not ask for breakup advice from someone who's been married for 20 plus years and has no idea on what it's like to go through a breakup or to be a single parent. Not the right person. They may be a great friend. They may be the most beautiful person in the world, but they are not going to give you the right advice. It's like going to a vet and asking for advice on your car or something to do with your kids. You wouldn't do it because it's totally different fields. It's totally different areas, and they're just not experienced in that. Same when it comes to this area. Like, this is your life. You don't just want to just randomly take on board these advice or these suggestions from people that have no idea what it's like to go through a breakup. And as I was just saying, I hear some people that have spoken to friends and they've mentioned it in their sessions and what their friends have suggested to them. I'm like, no, what are they doing? Don't. And I know their friend is coming from a good place. And I know the person that's asking for advice is just wanting someone to listen to them and wanting someone to help them move forward. But asking someone who's not going to give you the advice that you need is not the right place to start. But going back to the topic of triggers. So let me unpack some of the ways that someone can trigger you when you don't even realize it. And especially when you've gone to a breakup and you're back in the dating world and all of a sudden something happens. You're like, no, I'm out. It's because you've been triggered by something. And so what that is, they've brought up something from your past. They've brought up an emotion. They've brought up something you're worried about that's happened in the past. Maybe it's that fear of rejection. Maybe it's that fear of not being good enough. Maybe it's a behavior that you saw in your ex that you don't like. They highlight something that you're ashamed of or something that you're avoiding and you don't want to deal with, and it brings it up to the surface and that triggers you. They challenge a belief of you. They remind you of something that brought up bad memories for you. These are all things of how you can get triggered, of what people do that causes you to get triggered, which results in you being defensive. You get overly defensive. You overreact. You shut down. You withdraw. You need to over-explain yourself. You get oversensitive. You feel like you're being attacked when maybe you're not. Someone's just asking you questions or wanting to know more about you, and you take it personally. And that shutting down and that withdrawing, that is a common one, especially with those avoidance out there, which is another buzzword that's out there. But that is a common theme you see when someone gets triggered. And instead of dealing with it, they just disappear. They ghost you. They don't want to deal with it. They go off the face of the earth. They might give you silent treatments. And then all of a sudden, if you're in a relationship with them, they might pop up again a few days later. Or if it's someone that you just don't know very well, you might never hear from them again, because something you may have said has triggered them. So instead of them actually dealing with it, instead of them actually talking about it, instead of them actually turning around and saying, hey, I don't like that comment, or actually that comment made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, or instead of them actually stepping back and go, okay, that comment really did make me feel uncomfortable. What the hell just happened? What is going on here? And that is the point of triggers, to really focus on what is going on here. What is happening? What is it bringing up in you? And instead of just getting angry, instead of blaming someone else for making you feel that way. And this is one thing that a lot of people forget. They made me feel this way. They made me do this. Nobody makes you feel anyway. You decide how you feel. You decide how you want to take that comment or that feedback on board. It's like, for example, you can say to Tom, you look like shit. You can say to Joe, you look like shit. Tom might get really upset and sad that you've said that to him, where Joe be like, whatever, I don't care what you think. That's my point. You can have someone say the exact same thing to you, but it's how you choose to react. So now Tom's day is just ruined. He's all upset because he's been told he looks shit. where Joe, I don't know if I got those names mixed up, but anyway, where Joe's just gone off and he's just not fazed at all. He's just living his life, doing what he normally does. And this is my point, where when you get triggered, that it's not what someone is doing. It's not what someone or how someone is making you feel. Nobody chooses how you feel. You choose how you feel. You choose how you want to take that comment on board. And that's it's a real eye-opener for some people. I know a lot of people don't like to look at it like that, but it's like, no, they said this. No, they did this. It's their fault. We need to get out of that mentality of blaming. Because, again, with everything to do with this world, yes, it's about you. And yes, you cannot control what anybody else says or does. It could be the biggest arsehole in the world, and you just don't give a shit. But to somebody else, it might be a big deal because they've chosen to take it personally and you've chosen not to worry about it. So this person who's taking it personally is getting triggered because obviously they're feeling like they're not good enough. They're feeling like maybe they're being rejected. They're feeling like they're a failure. See, I'm not worth anything. See, I'm not good enough. And that comment has justified their belief in themselves and it's triggered them. Whereas the other person, it doesn't trigger them at all because they're just like, nah, I'm not fazed. I don't care. And this is a point in when you get triggered. And this is the point, and I'll say it again, that everything to do with this world, it comes down to you and how you choose to handle these situations. And this is a huge part, actually, I'll rephrase that. This is everything when it comes to co-parenting. You cannot change your ex. You cannot change what they say. You cannot change what they do. You can only change how you handle the situation. That is it. So when your ex triggers you, that is your cue to step back and look at that mirror. Okay, what's coming up here? What is happening? Why is this affecting me so much? That is the point of triggers. Because this constant blaming them for saying something, blaming them for doing something, this is not going to move you forward. This is going to keep you stuck in that cycle of wanting those answers. Well, why did you say that? Why did you do that? Why do you think that? Why? Those whys, wanting those answers and those explanations from your ex are not going to happen. They're not going to give it to you. And as I always say, your ex is not going to make you feel better about yourself. And this is why, going back to that example where Joe didn't care, but Tom did. Because Joe, now I'm getting confused. Because Joe feels better in himself. Joe's clearly more confident in himself. Joe clearly believes in himself. It's like, I know I look good, or I don't care. I don't need your approval. And that is a point in letting go. That is a point in being a better version of yourself, where you start believing in yourself. Start believing that you know that that's not you. And that a lot of that comes down to when your ex says comments like, you're a shit mom, or you're a shit dad, or you're not doing this, or you're not doing that, or you're not good, or no one's going to want to date you, or no one's going to want to be with you, or all these comments that your ex may say to you. These are things that I hear quite often in this world. And they make you feel like you're not good enough. They make you feel like you're never going to find anyone. They make you feel like you're going to be alone for the rest of your life. Because your confidence and your self-worth has gone to the shit because of things that they've drummed into your head. And quite possibly also from things that have happened earlier in your life. And it's all just piled up. And now it's just like, well, this breakup has just like confirmed everything for you that, see, I'm not good enough. See, no one's going to want me. See, no one's going to love me. So whenever something like that happens from your ex, where it makes you feel like you're not good enough, it makes you feel like no one's going to want you, they may say those comments again, then you get triggered. Then you react. Then you get angry. Then you keep wanting those explanations. Why are you saying this? Why are you doing this? This is what happens when you get triggered. And this is why it's important to remember that what they say and what they do, even though it may show that they're being an arsehole. I'm not judging anyone here. Could be man, could be woman. I see it on both sides. Trust me, I do. But when those things come up that really bother you, that really confirm those negative beliefs in yourself, that negative self-worth, that doubt. I'm not good enough. I can't talk about these things. I can't say this. I can't do this. I can't set boundaries. I can't speak up. No one's going to want me. I'm not good enough. Are these things sounding familiar to anyone here? If they are, then I guarantee you when your ex says something to you along those lines that confirm that, that is going to trigger you. But when you get to a place when you really believe in yourself, when you really got your confidence back on track, you don't get triggered because you're like, no, piss off, asshole. I feel quite good in myself. I know I look good today. Or I know I'm a good mum or a good dad. I know I'm a good parent. I know I will find my partner. So you can say I'll be single as much as you want. But I'm happily single at the moment and I will find my person when I'm ready. Mind you, my ex used to say that to me all the time. I used to think it was quite funny because I was and still am happily single. But then when you react to that, I should say, that is them triggering you. So you're still got that wound there of not being good enough. Why do they think that about me? Why do they think I'm not good enough to find someone? And it's like when you go back into the dating world after going through a breakup that you haven't healed from. And all of a sudden you might start seeing these things that remind you of your ex. Or all of a sudden it starts to get serious. But you've been through a pattern where you've been broken up with, or you might have been cheated on, and you might have been the person that's been dumped in these relationships. And then all of a sudden you go back into the dating world, it starts going well, but the next minute, boom, you've disappeared because you'll just think, this is too good to be true. They're probably just going to leave me, so I'm going to leave first. I'm out first because I'm not going to get heartbroken again. Does that pattern sound familiar for anyone? Because that is quite often what happens. This is one side of ghosting that a lot of people don't realize. When someone ghosts you, it's not just them just wanting to piss you off or them wanting to waste your time. I mean, mind you, maybe there are some people out there like that. But the majority of the time, when you are getting ghosted or when something like this has happened and someone just disappeared, it's quite often their insecurities. They're scared. They're triggered. They've still got wounds and unhealed baggage that they're refusing to work through. So whenever you do get ghosted, don't take it personally. Take it as, okay, that's good that happened now, because if I was in a relationship with this person, I don't want to get stuck in the middle of that. Go work through your shit and then come back and talk to me. So really what I want you all to take away from this episode is the fact that triggers are not a way of you to keep going backwards in life. Triggers are not there to remind you how much of a shit person you are, because you're not. Triggers are not there to tell you you're a failure, because you're not. Triggers are not there to tell you that you're going to be single for the rest of your life, because there's a good chance you're not, unless you choose to completely give up on dating. And if you do that, that's because you're not working on your triggers. That's because you're not working on what is hurting you. You're not working on your hurt. So you've chosen the option that I don't want to get heartbroken again, so I'm just going to give up and stay away from it completely, because you're scared of getting triggered again. Makes sense? And, I say this quite often. It all really kind of wraps up into one big ball. It all really links to you, how you view yourself, how you believe in yourself, how you show up for yourself. Because when you're lacking that confidence, when you're lacking that belief in yourself, that's when you get triggered. Because someone will say something little to you and boom, piss off, asshole. That's not me. That's not true. Or that's when you see people just randomly having fights. Like I just saw something on social media just this morning, two grown-ass men having a punch-up on the side of the road. It's like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? What is wrong with you? What has pushed you to the point to want to get out of the car in the middle of the road to punch on with someone else that you don't know anything about? What, they were going a little fast for you? They were driving too close for you? In other words, they got triggered by this person. Why were you triggered? What's happened? And I'm not saying that everyone, when you're in the car, just stop and go, oh, why did they trigger me? What just happened? I mean, hey, you can if you want. But realistically, that's not going to happen in everyday life. But it should. But this is the thing. When all these things are happening, it's because people are getting triggered. And when they get triggered, instead of actually stopping and looking inwards, because that's uncomfortable for so many people, they just blame everyone else because that's easier. Like when it comes to healing and moving on and letting go, let's just blame the ex. I don't need to do anything better for myself because it wasn't my fault this happened. I didn't end the relationship, they did. So I don't have to do any healing. I don't have to do anything to better myself because it's not my fault. But here's something that a lot of people will probably not like to hear. Even though they did wrong, I can 100% guarantee you there's probably things you could have done differently in that relationship where it would have ended up differently. Did you speak up? Did you enable the toxic behavior for so long? Did you see it happening and you just thought, I'll just let it slide? I don't want to speak up because I don't want to upset them. Did you set boundaries, or did you let them just keep getting away with everything and just walking all over you? Did you ignore all the red flags? Did you communicate things when they weren't working? Now, I'm not putting the blame on you if they ended the relationship, but there's always things that you can work on or that you can learn from that breakup in yourself so you don't go through that same pattern again in the future. And it is like anything in life. If you want to be better at something, if you want to do better, then you need to put in the work. And I'm actually going to refer back to social media. I saw a post on Instagram just this morning as I'm recording this, and it was talking about how people are giving up on online dating and all the problems, and how the certain problems that women have with online dating and the certain problems that men have with online dating. And I watched this. I'm like, yeah, that's true. But with everything in life, we need to stop blaming. We can't just keep blaming men for this, and we can't just keep blaming women for this. It's not the app's fault that there are so many problems with online dating. It's the people using it. Let's stop blaming and let's step back and take accountability. Because the thing is, online dating is so damn convenient. So people just go through a breakup, boom. Next day, possibly even that night, they're back on the apps looking for someone to make them feel better. And it's just this vicious cycle of going through breakup after breakup after breakup after breakup, with all this emotional baggage, wondering why it's not working. Apps are shit, apps are fucked, it's all their fault. No, it's got nothing to do with all this baggage that you're carrying. It's got nothing to do with all this hurt. It's got nothing to do with all this hate that you have towards men or towards women. It's got nothing to do with the fact that you're not trusting people. It's got nothing to do with all these triggers that are setting you off every time you speak to somebody. It's got nothing to do with the fact that you're just judging someone by a photo and not actually getting to know them. This is the problem with online dating. It's not the apps. It's people are just so wounded. It's such a convenient option. So as soon as someone has gone through a breakup, instead of actually being accountable, instead of actually stepping back and self-reflecting and looking inwards, instead of actually stepping back and taking some time to process, they're back on the apps within 24 hours, sometimes even less. And they're just repeating the same cycle, wondering why it's all happening over and over again, because they're not doing anything different. And this is why I hate people saying, it's the app's fault, it's the app's fault. I'm not sitting here going to say the apps are amazing. I'm not, because there are a lot of shit things that you see out there. But it's the people that are using it. Really, if you had a whole heap of healed people on the apps, a whole lot of people that actually knew what they wanted, a whole lot of people that actually weren't in it to just be an arsehole and just lie about what they wanted. Well, I mean, they're saying they want a long-term relationship, they have a bit of one-night fun, they're like, yep, I'm done, see you later, I'm out. The apps would be so much easier if it didn't have people on there that had all these bloody emotional baggage and that were carrying all these wounds. This is what we need to be more aware of, and this is what needs to be normalized. Well, I'm not saying normalize carrying emotional baggage. I'm saying stop blaming. Taking accountability is a huge thing. And I even cringe when I see people in this industry saying, like, when they blame their ex and they're blaming men and they're blaming women and they're blaming the apps and they're blaming this. It's like, well, just stop. Why? There's always an underlying issue for things, always. If that's not working, why? What's going on? Is it the people that you're approaching? Is it the way you're approaching it? Is it because you're getting triggered and you're getting the shits and just shutting everyone off? Anyway, I think you get where I'm going with that. But the point of this episode is to talk about your triggers. And so when you do get triggered in the future by your ex, by someone in the dating world, I want you to really stop and look at what's going on. Now, in saying that, doing that is not going to fix the problem, but it is going to make you aware. And that's the first step, being aware of what's happening. And actually, no, I'm going to take it back one step further than that. The first step is actually recognizing that the trigger is not them, the trigger is something within you. That is the first step. Realizing that you're still carrying some hurt there. This has brought up an emotion in you that makes you feel uncomfortable, and that is what needs to be healed. That is what needs to be worked on. That is what I do. We sit back and look at what are these uncomfortable emotions that are coming up. Why is this making you uncomfortable? Let's work through this. Let's unpack this together. Because, like I said, recognizing it is a great step. But that's not going to fix it. It's not going to stop it from happening in the future. So if anything that I want you to take away from this episode is, one, when you're using these fancy-wancy buzzwords of today's generation, I want you to really know what you're saying. Stop throwing these words out there if you don't actually know the true meaning of it. I cringe when I see people calling everyone a narcissist. It's like, please step back and actually understand what you're saying. Just because they're saying something you don't like, they are not a narcissist. There are so many traits that make someone a narcissist. So when someone says something, or when you want to say a word or put a title on someone or a label on someone, really know what you're saying. Really be aware of that. And second of all, the other thing I want you to take away from this episode is really when you get triggered, when someone pisses you off, when your ex pisses you off, when your ex does something where you're like, you're just done. You want to block them, you're over it, you're fed up, you've had enough. That is them being an arsehole, yes. But there is something you can take away from that. There is something you can learn about yourself in that. Because that is what you need to work on. That is what you need to heal. So instead of going into the dating world thinking that that problem's just going to magically go away, it doesn't. This is why there's so many problems with online dating, because it doesn't go away. They're all still there because people just keep going back in. They keep going back in. They keep going back in, thinking a new person is going to fix them. Thinking a new person is going to make all these triggers disappear. A new person is just going to make all these old problems go away. The person may not be in your life, but the wounds, the triggers, the hurt, that's all still there. That is all still there, and it's going to stay there until you actually work through it. Food for thought. So I hope you take something really productive away from this episode. And if you are wanting to work through those triggers, then let's chat, because this is what I can help you through. This is what we work through. And for those of you that don't know, it's not just triggers that I work through. It's your confidence. It's your self-worth. It's your co-parenting. It's anything in your life that is holding you back, where you're feeling stuck, where you're feeling unhappy, where you're feeling lost, where you're feeling just alone. Because that's a common feeling when you're a single parent, right? And especially now coming up to the end of the year, with Christmas, with New Year's, and you feel like, fuck, I've just done nothing with my life. I'm just feeling empty. I'm feeling like a shell of a person. And sadly, this is what I see quite often in my first sessions. I speak to people and it is like I'm speaking to a shell of a person, and it's really sad. But the thing that I love most about what I do is that give it a couple of weeks, a couple of months down the track, it's like I'm speaking to a completely different person. It's like, wow, look at you. When I spoke to you first, you were crying. When I spoke to you first, you were just so sad. You were so lost. You were just like a little mouse speaking to me. It was like I was speaking to a little kid version of them. And then all of a sudden, boom, they're finding themselves again. Boom, their confidence is coming back again. Boom, they're actually loving life again and not engaging in drama with their ex. And that's what it's about. That's what coaching is about. It's not about your ex. It's about you. Living your life to your full potential, doing what lights you up, doing what makes you happy, instead of just living in Groundhog Day, instead of just keep dog paddling through life. Everyone deserves to live a life that lights them up. And that's what it's about. So if that is something that you're wanting help with, please reach out. I have a free intro chat in my show notes. And the point of that intro chat is for you to get a better idea of what coaching is about. It gives you a better idea of how I can help you going forward. And it gives you a better idea of who I am. You get to speak to me by Zoom. And you can ask me any questions about how it works and how I can help you going forward. Because I may sound like a broken record when I say this, but it may be unrealistic, but I have a goal of just wanting single parents to be able to get to a place, all of you, where you're just happy and loving life, not just living like you're constantly scared or worried about your ex, not like you have to keep walking on eggshells, not feeling nervous or anxious or panicked every time you've got to deal with your ex. This is one person out of billions. Don't let that one person who is no longer a part of your life determine how you live yours. So that is my TED Talk today on triggers. Please feel free to share your thoughts on what you thought of that. Share any feedback you have. If you got something from this, and please let me know. I love hearing you guys. I want to know that this is actually sinking in with some people. Am I just talking to myself? Am I just rambling on, or are you actually getting something from these episodes? Let me know. I love talking to you guys. Don't be scared to come out and say hi on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you are and come and have a chit chat. I will respond. So yeah, let me know what you're thinking and feel free to give a review. Don't be shy. Give me a little 5-star review. Give me a little comment and let me know that you're loving the show, and don't forget to share it with your single parent friends. Get everyone on board. And let's get this Life After Plus One in the ears of the right people that need the right support. So thanks, everyone. I hope you got something truly valuable from today's episode. And until next week, I'll be in your ears then.
Thank you for joining us on the Life After Plus One podcast. If you loved what you heard today and looking for some further support, then jump onto our website, lifeafterplusone.com. Plus, don't forget to check out our Instagram page for further resources and inspo. You can find all the links in the show notes. And remember, you're not alone on this path. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep exploring your amazing life after Plus One.